our AFAR time slot, but what we are doing today is we're having a little bit of a takeover by the Swimming and Water Safety Education team. As we do have some exciting news, we have received the announcement for funding for school swimming, so we will be providing you a 1-hour webinar to discuss funding in 2021 and possibly 2022 as well. You may have just seen a notification pop up on your screen to say that this is recording. So we do please encourage you to keep your microphones muted and your cameras turned off so that we can get all of this through and we can share this with our community after this as well, in case anybody wishes to view it who couldn't attend today. Now, in regards to AFAR, this is going to be our final AFAR webinar for 2020, and we will be reviewing AFAR in 2021 to see if we continue this and in what context that continues if it does. So let's get straight into it. So a bit more housekeeping. As mentioned before, please keep those microphones muted. Please keep your cameras off. If you do have any questions at any time at all, this will be a 1-hour webinar. It may run a little bit shorter than that, but please do pop those questions in the chat for any presenter at any time while they're fresh in your mind. We will have a couple of opportunities to get to these questions throughout the presentation, and we'll have a big Q&A section at the end as well, where we can collate all your questions that you have put through to us throughout the presentation and answer them for everybody to hear as well. And as mentioned before as well, this will be recorded, this webinar, and we will let you know when it's available to watch on our website. So we would like to begin today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which we meet and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. We do have a couple presenters today. My name is Caitlin. I am a project officer for the Swimming and Water Safety Education team. And we are also fortunate enough to be joined by Liz White, who is the statewide swimming coordinator from the Department of Education and Training. And of course, as always, we have our Swimming and Water Safety team in the chat at all times to say hello and to get to your comments. So to start us off today, please do pop in the comments where you're joining us from, what your position is or your role is, and even what you hope to get out of today's webinar. Okay, without further ado, I would like to pass this over to Liz White, who will discuss with us the funding that we will be receiving in 2021 and 2022. So Liz, if you'd like to share your camera, unmute your microphone and take it away.
Hi everybody, as Caitlin mentioned, my name is Liz White. I'm swimming coordinator, statewide swimming coordinator for the Department of Education. Thanks for joining us today so that I can provide you with an overview of the funding that's available to schools in 2021. Caitlin, if you could move to the next slide for me, please. So to start with, I'd like to provide you with a bit of background. Swimming and water safety education became part of the Victorian curriculum in 2017, and from this time to the present date, the Victorian government has committed $35 million to support 2 initiatives. The first one is the Swimming in Schools initiative, which provides funding for Victorian government primary schools as well as Catholic primary schools to support the delivery of swimming and water safety programs. The second initiative is the Public Water Safety Initiative, which provides funding to Lifesaving Victoria to support them in the development of resources and professional development for both the education sector and the aquatic industry. Just to the next slide there, please, Caitlin. So the objectives of this funding primarily is to increase the delivery of the Victorian Water Safety Certificate program for both schools and the aquatic industry. It's also to support the improvement of data collection of competencies and participation rates for students. It's to ensure that schools deliver high quality and cost-effective swimming and water safety programs, and also to ensure that both schools and the aquatic industry understand the support and resources that are available to them. If We could move to the next slide there, please, Caitlin. So, as you're all very acutely aware, the impact of bushfires and COVID-19 has been quite significant in 2020. Many of the Victorian government primary schools and Catholic primary schools have not been able to undertake their swimming and water safety programs. As a result, the funding that they received in 2020 to deliver these programs will be carried forward to 2021. So that's for most Victorian government and Catholic primary schools. And just on to the next slide, please, Caitlin. So in addition to the 2020 funding that will be carried forward into 2021, there will also be newly secured funding for 2021. So on the 24th of November, the Victorian government handed down its state budget, and within this budget, it committed a further $11.2 million to support the two initiatives of swimming in schools and public water safety. So swimming in schools will be provided with $10.5 million from January 2021 through to June 2022. And a further $700,000 will be provided to support the Public Water Safety Initiative over this same period. For schools, the level of funding that they receive as part of the Swimming in Schools funding for 2021 needs to be calculated based on the enrolments. And we will not have this information until February 2021. So schools will be aware of the funding levels that they receive for swimming and water safety education at the end of term 1 in 2021. So just as a summary of the funding, for schools that weren't able to undertake their swimming and water safety programs this year, they will have both this year's funding plus the 2021 new funding. For schools that were able to undertake their swimming and water safety programs this year, they will have new funding in 2021, but they will not know what the level of this funding is until the end of term 1. A little bit of a tricky situation for them, but with the delays in the budget, it's quite unavoidable at this stage. So that's an overview of the funding available to schools. I might hand it back to Caitlin now. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Liz, for that perfectly explained overview of the funding. Right to the point. I think you mentioned the most important point there was that the funding that schools received for 2020, if unused due to the cancellation of their swimming programs, can be carried into 2021. So I encourage all of you swim schools and aquatic centres to make a note of this so that you can pass this on to your schools as well and encourage them to utilise this funding that was unused from this year in next year's program. So a really important thing to note and very, very convenient as well so that we can continue to support those students who missed out on swimming this year. Now, before we jump into the next section of this webinar, are there any questions that anyone would like to pop in the chat for Liz regarding funding for schools either this year or next year? I might ask our Liz from LSV and Michelle just to let me know if you have seen any questions in the chat. And actually, before I do that, I can see one right now from Janelle. Janelle says, hi Liz, if I have this correct, the 2021 funding is a decrease on the allocated 2020 amount. Is this correct? How much is the 2021 funding per student head?
Hi Janelle, thank you for your question. At this stage, we don't know what the per student rate is. We need the enrolment details before we can calculate that. It may be a decrease in funding. We're just not able to provide any assurity on that at this stage. So in term 1, we will have the enrolment details and our finance division will be able to calculate the per head rate and from there the level of funding for each school.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Liz, for explaining that. And as you mentioned, the delay in the announcement of the state budget has caused this delay, but hopefully we can get on top of it as soon as possible. Okay, so now heading straight into the next part of our webinar. We are going to discuss how your schools can best utilise their funding with the amounts that they have, which includes the 2020 unused funding and the new funding for 2021. Now, obviously, this year has presented some challenges. We do have a lot of students who have missed out on not only their school swimming lessons, but also their private before and after school or holiday lessons as well. So we do have a couple of goals in 2021. We want to see as many students as possible achieving their Victorian Water Safety Certificate. We want as many students in the water completing swimming lessons as possible, especially those who missed out in 2020 or this year. And of course, I'm sure you can all agree, we do have a shared mission of preventing aquatic-related injury and drownings across Victoria for our students. So these are our goals for when we are developing our programs for 2021 and reaching out to schools to explain to them how they could best develop their programs as well. So we, of course, have two different program options. We have the practical or wet programs in the water, and we also have the dry programs. So we're going to go through a few now and see if you can think of any that you might add to this list additionally. Maybe you have some ideas already for how you can communicate to your schools and encourage them to develop their school swimming programs. If you do have some additional ideas, please do share this in the chat. We are obviously all in this together, and we want to make sure that we are sharing our shared mission and our goals for 2021. So we want to work together to be able to get these best programs possible for these children. So one of the first ideas that you may be thinking possibly is to host a swimming carnival. So this may be something that you host towards the end of the school swimming lessons, and you can connect multiple schools together to get them into the water at the same time. Now, this could be a fun day or an actual swimming carnival. You can send out an expression of interest or create a registration list for schools in your local area to register at. A great thing to do is to create stations using wet and dry areas. So you can be teaching multiple different skills and knowledge-based programs at the same time. And you can even include a Victorian Water Safety Certificate assessment station as well, or a couple of those if you wish. So this really makes the most of your actual swim lesson time in the pool. And at the end of that, you can host this swimming carnival to assess the Victorian Water Safety Certificate, to connect a whole lot of schools and to see how students respond in different situations. You might have some scenario-based activities in there as well. A great thing to do is to contact schools before they contact you. So make sure you're ahead of the game, explaining to them what you have to offer so that you can work together to make that fantastic program. Another option is to deliver an OWLE program. Now, it's important to note that this is an add-on. It's not a program, a swimming and water safety program in itself. We all know that students learn best when they are in the pool experiencing their swimming lessons. So this is an add-on that provides an alternative environment for students, an open water environment, as the name suggests, and allows them to utilise the skills that they would have learnt in their swimming lessons in this new open water environment. So this is great for your older students, especially senior primary students, as this can often prepare them for camps in high school. Now, we often know that high school camps can involve a lot of water-based activities like surfing, canoeing, those sorts of things. So this is something that would be great to get your students involved in as well. Now, the reason we're sharing this with you today is you can get in contact with us to explore a partner delivery option. So you can actually deliver this yourself to your students. Now, just going through that list there, it is an evidence-based program. It does get reviewed annually, and it is hosted in many different regions across Victoria. There is the option of a half day or a full day program. They also have carnival options, which include a range of activities covering all aquatic environments. Now, the delivery options are obviously face-to-face. LSV can deliver these, but we also have the option of a partnership program whereby you can deliver. There are many different environments where this can be delivered. This includes a beach, a surf beach, inland waterways like lakes or rivers, and even at your own pool as well. Participant numbers Usually across the 2019 to 2020, we had 17,863 students complete the OWLE program, and between 2018 and 2019, we had 19,467 students. Some great feedback about this particular program. So it is a really, really excellent experience for these students, especially because it takes them to a different environment and utilises those skills that they would have learnt in their swimming lessons in a different environment itself. So great leading into summer, great leading into school camps, something that you guys might be thinking about getting involved in. And it might be a great way to summarise or conclude your swimming lessons with that different environment there. Another option, and this takes us into some dry options now, you may be thinking how to best utilise your time in the pool itself. Now, we want to get these students in the water, actually learning to swim and experiencing the pool and the water itself. So we need to think about how we can develop their water safety knowledge on dry land in possibly a different environment. So maybe when they're not at your pool. So one option is you can plan a virtual visit. You can develop this program yourself if you wish. Lifesaving Victoria have a lot of resources that we can present to you to support you in this as well. And a great option for you to get to know the kids before their lessons, start to teach them all about the water safety knowledge that they need to know. It's a great way to begin their practice for when they lead towards the Victorian Water Safety Certificate and experience that knowledge-based competency for the VWSC. You can connect to multiple different organisations. So if you have possibly contacts at a lifesaving club, at a fishing community, at a surfing community, even if you are a metropolitan-based pool and you have contacts in regional Victoria, get in contact with them and see if they would be open to planning a virtual visit for your students as well. It's a great opportunity for students who may not have ever experienced a regional area or a regional waterway to see what it's like and to learn all about that, because who knows, they might head on holiday down to regional Victoria. I know we're very encouraging of that and staying local and supporting our local communities. So it's really important that these students are exposed to these different waterways before they actually go down there. So do consider this as an option as well. It allows you to get to know your students. It allows you to teach them those water safety knowledge components. And it also allows you to try something a little bit different with these students as well and make the most of their time in the pool. Another knowledge-based program that you may consider delivering is our Sink or Swim program. Now, it's again, we've had reviews annually. The program can continue from 45 minutes to 1 hour and involves a range of activities from the expertise of a trained lifesaver. Now, you do have the option of exploring a partner delivery option with us as well. So you may be able to get training and the resources needed for you to be able to deliver this from your pool. We also deliver this as well from Lifesaving Victoria, but a great opportunity for you guys to try something a bit different. We had 15,021 students complete this in 2019 and 2020, and 22,000 in 2018 and 2019. So a very well-known program and something that you may think about delivering at your pool. Again, to make the most of their time in the water, perhaps you can deliver this at the school yourselves before the children attend their swimming lessons at your pool as well. Another knowledge-based program that you can think about doing is the Water Safety Tech Time program. Now, this is currently in development, so we are hoping to be able to explore a partnership delivery option in 2021. You may be able to have your own equipment to deliver this in your own way as well. So some people may already have a green screen at their facility, which is a great thing to have and very affordable as well. You really just need maybe a wall, a screen, even a portable whiteboard. Grab a piece of green material, throw it over the top and just grab an iPad or a device like that, and you can go straight ahead and deliver some green screen activities for your students. You may have experienced our virtual reality programs that we have as well. You do not need any VR headsets for these to happen. You just need some devices, whether that's an iPad, a phone, or even a large screen for lots of people to see. This is something that you might think about as well, and also something that you could deliver to the school. So again, using the most of the time in the pool for those actual swimming lessons, and you can deliver this at the school, maybe before or after their swimming lessons as well, just to encourage the students to learn those water safety knowledge competencies and also lead towards achieving their certificates as well. It does have a lot of cross-curricular activities, so that might be something attractive for school teachers, and it's more targeted towards your grades 3 to 6 students, but definitely get in contact with us if you'd like to explore a partnership option for delivery in 2021. Again, with these knowledge-based programs, as I mentioned before, we do have virtual reality. We also have the water safety at home resources. Now, these are great. They are a bunch of resources, videos, things like that, that you are able to share with your schools or your students. They range from anywhere between 10 minutes and 45-minute sessions. So these are actually really great ones leading into the program. If you want to share this with your school, if you have a selection that you would actually request used and shown to the students by the teacher leading into your lesson, if that connects to the focus of their program, that would be a great way for the students to learn a few skills before before experiencing your program. So a great thing to have a look through and see if you can think of anything in there that you would like to target towards your schools for them to gain that learning before, during, or even after, as a summary, after your program. These are some more practical dry programs. So these are more your physical education, health and physical education lesson plans. Now, currently we have these targeted at grade 5 and 6 students. They include dry rescues, relays, scenario activities, but these are also things that you can use at your own pool as well to deliver your lessons. You might be able to have rotations, so you may have a dry rotation outside of the pool using these lesson plans and these activities, and then a wet rotation in the pool where students actually complete those real rescues, relays, and actual scenario activities in the water as well. Typically, they utilise the sports equipment found in school, so perhaps schools could bring along their own equipment for you to use, or you could even head into the school and deliver these with their equipment as well. It allows you to teach the water safety lessons at school, which connect to those skills that will be learnt in the swimming lessons. They are all supported by instructional videos, so they show you what the students should be doing and how to complete the activity, and it obviously connects to the knowledge component of the Victorian Water Safety Certificate. So we have a few tips and tricks now. Now, like I mentioned before, our goal is to get as many students in the water as possible, to get them learning those skills that can allow them to work towards achieving their Victorian Water Safety Certificate. So, first of all, when you're thinking about how we're going to attract as many schools into our aquatic facilities as possible, contact the schools who had their 2020 programs cancelled directly. Make sure you inform them about that unused funding that can be utilised in 2021 as well, and ask them to really prioritise the students that missed out. Okay, we don't want any students going over a year without their swimming lessons. So that will be up to the school themselves to decide who it completes their swimming lessons and when, but really do encourage them to focus on those students who missed out. And then we can be as flexible as possible with their 2021 bookings. So thinking about timings. So if they usually have a 2-week program for their 3-4 students and maybe a 1-week program for their 5-6 students, think about how they can shift that around so that every student has that even chance of completing their swimming lessons. We may encourage them to complete their lessons in the morning. Perhaps the parents can drop their students at your pool, they complete their lessons, and then the bus takes them back to the school for the rest of their school day. It could be the other way around. The bus takes the students to the pool in the afternoon and the parents collect the students in the afternoon from the pool itself. So that's allowing you to fit a whole lot more bookings in the one day, if that works with your pool and your timings as well. But try to think flexibly. How can we get as many students in our pool as possible in 2021? Because we know that next year is going to be a very, very important year for our swimming and water safety programs. Think about offering a discounted Term 2 and Term 3 entry fees. Often we find that schools will typically book their programs in Term 1 and Term 4, especially at outdoor pools. But think about getting them more into the Term 2 and Term 3 time slot, maybe by offering discounts to those schools to balance out those bookings across the year. So again, that's going to encourage more students to come to your pool because they'll be able to get the whole year booked out. Now, be creative with your program duration. Perhaps you usually have a 2-week program, and that's absolutely fine. Maybe think about how you could deliver some lessons at the school in dry activities, and even possibly an hour program or a program or a day that takes place at a different waterway, so a real waterway outside of the pool. Think about the creative ways that you can do that and that you can discuss this with the school as well. Work together to make sure you're making the most of the days dedicated to swimming and water safety lessons. Now think about the school's program focus. Are they aiming to achieve the Victorian Water Safety Certificate? We certainly hope so. It's a great thing to be using. We encourage every school and swim school to utilise this certificate on top of their program delivery. Are they focusing on water safety? Are they wanting to focus on survival skills? Discuss this with the school so that you can best deliver what they need to know. Think about maybe what they missed out on in 2020 and what those crucial skills are that we need them to develop. And they are going to be the sorts of things that you'll focus on in your lessons. And finally, ensure that your program is aligned to the new and updated National Swimming and Water Safety Framework. Now, this can be accessed at that link on the screen, which I'm sure we will be putting in the chat right now. And a great thing to make sure before your 2021 lessons commence that your programs connect to that and align to that National Swimming and Water Safety Framework. Okay, some pretty exciting news now that is going to help you with your 2021 program. Now, I'm hoping that everybody is aware of the Victorian Water Safety Certificate, and I hope that most of you have used the dashboard in the past, or the platform where you can upload your certificates. We do have a very exciting launch happening next year. We will be launching a brand new platform, and this is actually a platform that you can access. So you will be able to see the graphs that appear on screen here. You can monitor the number of certificates that you have uploaded and that you have handed out to students. You can see lots and lots of different graphs on there. This is only one section of the page, but you're able to see the year levels that have achieved numbers. You're able to see the different genders that have achieved certificates. You're able to compare your certificates uploads from last year to this year to the year ahead as well. So a great way to monitor your certificate uploads and stay on top of those as well. Now, the best feature, and I'm sure you will all agree, is the fact that you can download or re-download any certificates that you have uploaded. I'm sure you've received lots of emails and phone calls from schools in the past, or you may have even got in contact with us as well, requesting that certificates are resent or re-downloaded. There usually is an expiry date on those certificates when they are first uploaded, and typically they expire within 48 hours. So sometimes we lose track of time and that expiry date hits and then we can't access those certificates. So now it's very, very easy for you just to log in, access the certificates that you uploaded in the past and re-download them to either print off yourselves or send off to the school for them to print off. So stay tuned because we will be having this new platform available in 2021. And just another reminder as well, to be able to access the certificates at the moment, to upload these, please do follow the link that is on the screen. We will also put it in the chat now, and that is exactly where you need to go to download the CSV file for you to type in your list of names, and also to upload your data to be able to download those certificates there. So all the information is on that link, and make sure you're very familiar with it leading into 2021. Now, fortunately, there is other funding available for schools. Now, schools are hopefully aware of this. If they are not, or even if they are, it's always best for you guys to be aware of this as well, so that you can pass this on to schools and encourage them to apply for this funding to use towards their swimming and water safety programs. So the first bit of funding that we have is the Sporting Schools funding. Now, this is Australia-wide funding by the Australian government, and it is available for all Australian primary school students as well as targeted Year 7 and 8 students. Now, Australian primary schools can apply for this funding once per school term during the application open dates. All that information can be found on that link on screen, which will also be in our chat now. And it's very important that they read the requirements of this application, as the funding itself can only be spent on certain programs. So it's very important for them to be aware of this, when they can apply for it, how frequently they can apply for it, and what they can spend the funding on. So very good idea to pass that information on to your schools. And then we have the Active Schools funding as well. Now, the Victorian government recently announced that the $24.2 million Active Schools initiative builds on existing programs and funding to boost support and resources for schools to get kids moving. So that is the main goal of the Active Schools funding, to get kids moving. Now, up to 480 disadvantaged government schools each year will receive an Active Schools funding boost to help meet the costs of running sport, outdoor education and active recreation programs after school. A further 90 schools per year will receive extra funding to implement a whole school approach to physical activity, and the department will advise schools of how to apply for this funding. So two very important things that you can share with your schools as well for them to be able to check out, and we will have both those links in the chat for you to share. Now, you may have seen, this is jumping in a different direction now, but moving into Water Safety Week. Water Safety Week was last week, as it usually or typically is, the first week of December. And you may have seen a few social media posts, or you may have seen these guys yourself, a couple of ducks appear in the Docklands Marina. Now, these ducks had a very important message to share with the public, and something that you guys will be very aware of as well. So we are sharing the important message of supervision, adult supervision of children around water this summer. Now, this follows on from a whole lot of cancelled swimming lessons, and we know that students haven't received their swimming lessons or developed their skills as much as they usually would in recent years. So this is why we're promoting the importance of adult supervision around water, because we want to make sure that everyone is able to stay safe around water, especially this summer. We have been cooped up in our homes for a very long time now, and we're finally able to go out and explore our beautiful waterways across Victoria, but we want to make sure everybody does that safely. So make sure that you're sharing that message of supervision as well. I'm sure you all do at your pools, so this is a great way to promote it even more. Now, we have named our ducks Delilah and Dennis. Dennis, the little menace there. And we are actually opening this up for visits to your own facilities in 2021. So if you have a special event on next year, or if you think that you have a time that you would like these ducks to visit your facility, please do get in contact with us. We will be bringing them all around Victoria to promote that important message of adult supervision. And another thing that was being done during Water Safety Week last week, and it is continuing up until next Monday the 14th, are our Water Safety Week competitions. So we have a colouring competition for children, and we also have a school and swim school competition as well. So make sure you get on top of these and share these with your community, your students, but also get involved yourself. What we're looking for from the swim school competition is we want to see how swim schools delivered fun, creative and innovative Water Safety Week programs, whether that was online, in person, face to face. How did you deliver your Water Safety Week program to demonstrate or to share the key message of supervision this summer. So if you have a few snaps or a few stories from what you did during Water Safety Week, please do apply for this competition. We have the link to register in the chat, and it's also on the screen there as well for more information. And also share the colouring competition with your families. It's a great thing for them to get involved in, a little bit of fun, and of course there will be some great prizes for our winners as well. Okay, so it has hit that time of the webinar. I'm going to take a little bit of a break and pass it on to my team who have been monitoring the questions in the chat. So Michelle or Liz, if you guys want to let us know if there are any questions in the chat that we can answer.
Thanks, Caitlin. So Stacey asked the question about schools being unclear of the funding that they will receive to the end of term. They won't find out exactly to the end of term 1 next year. So does that mean that because it's unknown for term 1, could we possibly see cancellations? Probably particularly referring to those that have spent their funding in term 1 this year. So, you know, we know that if someone's booked in for term 3, they generally do term 3 every year on year. So, Stacey, I'm not sure if we have an answer for you. Liz White, I'm not sure if you want to jump in with any more information. Otherwise, we can get back at a later date.
Yeah, thanks, Liz. I can't actually answer that question with any certainty. That schools organise their swimming and water safety programs fully autonomously. So it's up to each respective school whether they book their swimming programs in or not. So I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. That's a decision for each school.
And then the next one, and guys, there's obviously, we've got some, there's a handful of us on here. So after the next question, if someone did want to unmute themselves and ask a question directly, we're more than happy to assist in that case. But we did get asked from Casey if there's any chance of getting a list of the disadvantaged schools that will receive the active schools funding. Which I believe Michelle's put the link in there. So any known information about schools will be within that link, unless anyone has anything else to add to that one. No. So is there any other questions about the various programs that we have, or oh, hang on, we've got another one coming through about funding. So Janelle, I understand that the per student amount won't be determined until the end of term 1. However, overall, the 11 million is a decrease. I'm sure others will be concerned about this decrease, considering our current circumstances in Victoria and the drowning rate concerns. Liz, did we just want to take that on notice, or
Is there a question there?
I think it's more of a statement comparing the funding amount that's announced to previous announcements.
Yeah, we haven't been able to determine if it's a decrease or not yet. The funding is for an 18-month period, so that will all become clear in term 1.
And then I suppose, Janelle, the second half of your question is linking to the current concerns in Victoria and the drowning rates. And I'm assuming, you know, you're referring to what was highlighted last week in Water Safety Week, and, you know, the drowning rates since July 1 have been considerably high. That it's definitely a big concern from us from a drowning prevention agency point of view. And we're doing a lot of work in the background. So I suppose from an advocacy and support side of things, watch this space. And then more news about the funding will come out as soon as we know it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Liz. And as we know, it is something that we can't control, this funding, but we at Lifesaving Victoria are here to support all aquatic facilities and schools Victoria-wide to deliver the best programs. So as Liz mentioned, we are going to be developing things across the school holidays in 2021 to best support you in delivering those programs as you usually would, but even in a more innovative way. So we need to come together now and think about ways that we can still deliver these programs to our schools and our communities. How can we utilise dry programs? How can we utilise resources that already exist? How can we utilise different things and work together to make sure that we're still teaching our Victorian children swimming and water safety skills to keep them safe in and around water? So as I said, unfortunately, some things are out of our control, but we do need to still focus on that goal and that mission and work together. And we will all be here for everyone. That is exactly what we do, and that's what we're here for. If you have any questions, concerns, ideas, please do share them our way, and we can make those resources and give you that support to make sure that 2021 is a year that you can still deliver those crucial swimming and water safety programs. Are there any more questions in the chat that we may have missed, or would anybody who is here today like to switch on their microphones and ask a question? As Liz said, we have got a handful of us here today, so we will open that up to you all. I think we've got a bit of silence there, but glad to hear, Janelle, that you are looking forward to the new dashboard. As we said, that will be available in 2021. We are just finalising that, so it's all ready for you guys to use, and you will get to enjoy all those extra features. And I'm sure it will make everybody's lives a whole lot easier when you can print off those certificates whenever you wish, and you can re-download them as well. Okay, we might move into the last little bit. Might be able to finish this off a bit early, which is always nice at a webinar. On behalf of the whole of Lifesaving Victoria, everyone involved in our FAR series, everyone involved in everything that has been going on in 2020, we would like to say a very big thank you to you all. We understand that this year has been a challenging one, especially for our industry, absolutely. We thank you for your ongoing support and commitment to swimming and water safety education in this year. We can see that your attendance to our FAR webinars and our different webinars, your emails, your phone calls, we can see that you are so passionate about this, and it is very, very important. Aquatic education, swimming skills, water safety knowledge, these all go towards saving lives and keeping our students, our communities and our children safe around water. So we understand that this has been a very, very challenging year. It is nearing the end of the year. Christmas is around the corner, whether that is exciting time for some, stressful time for others. We can see exactly how hard you have all been working this year, and we very much appreciate your support and your commitment to ongoing swimming and water safety education. So take this as a learning curve for all of us. We have all come very far. And yes, it has been challenging. Next year may be challenging, but we have learnt so many things this year that we can take into next year. So I would just like to say a very, very big thank you to you all, even those who are listening to the recording. Thank you for your commitment to this cause and for your ongoing support. And we will continue to support you all as well. If there aren't any more questions today, I will leave this contact us screen up for you guys to see. We have got the Lifesaving Victoria contact details there, as well as DET's email. If you have any other questions at all about funding, please do get in contact with us, and stay tuned for more information, especially that end of term 1 information that schools will be getting. Even if you can start thinking of ways that you can get in contact with your schools now and starting to plan programs in 2021 with the knowledge that you have at the moment. See if there are some things that you can offer them, but obviously you will have far more information in term 1 towards the end of that term about the funding that is available. And don't forget to tell them that their unused funding can be carried on into 2021, which is fantastic news as well. So I think that wraps us all up. Thank you for joining us for AFAR this year. As I mentioned before, this is our final AFAR session for 2020, and we will be reviewing it leading into 2021 as well. Have a very Merry Christmas, everyone, and a safe and happy New Year. And we will see you all in 2021. Thank you very much.